Mr. Parvania, I'm Heidi Franco, the chair of Heber Light and Power on the board. You may or may not be able to see us, sadly. You can? Okay, very good. We're glad you're here. Because we only have the 3 board members here, we're going to go to your presentation first because we don't have to vote on it, but we're certainly interested in it. So before you start, please let me welcome everyone to the May 27th, 2026 Heber Light and Power Board meeting. It is now 4:09 p.m. and everyone I want to welcome the other board members that are in attendance. We have Kendall Crittenden here from Wasatch County and Morgan Murdoch from the Heber City Council. We're hoping, and we've reached out to 2 of our other board members to see if they will join us. Also, Mayor Doug Clements from Charleston is asked to be excused. Because we can't be voting yet without our 4th board member, we're skipping the consent agenda, and now we can go to the virtual power plant presentation with Mr. Masood Parvania with Grid Elevated, and so we'll turn the time over to you, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to present in the board meeting. Very excited about this. So I think this is being shared, the video, but then what I see is just the logo of Heber Power and Light, and sometimes I see like a face coming up here. I think it's Jason. I see Jason in the corner. So
Okay.
Well, we're all
I
here.
apologize that I wasn't there in person.
Is he now a presenter?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go ahead and get started.
Sure.
There we go.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. So again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Masood Parvania. I'm founder and president of a grid company called Grid Elevated. We are based in Utah, Salt Lake City, and then we are basically a local company. Also, University of Utah has a small share in our companies, and we license some of our technologies from the University of Utah. So today I'm going to talk about developing VPP technology at Heber Light and Power. We've been working with Jason and Emily on this for a while, and then this is basically what we are looking at the moment. So today specifically, I think virtual power plant, I'm sure you are familiar with it, but what we are specifically talking about is a utility controlled virtual power plant. There are variations of virtual power plant, specifically those that are operated by a third-party aggregator or third-party companies for the benefit of let's call for those third-party companies. Of course, there is also sometimes benefit and payments to utilities, but then it is our belief and scientifically proven that the VPP would deliver the most benefit to the utility and the customer when it is operated and controlled by the utility. So which is basically in summary is a grid management model where the utility company controls the distributed resources, which includes batteries, solar, EV chargers installed at the customer side, and aggregates them to function as a single controllable power plant. So this would bring direct benefit, financial reliability and resilient benefit to the utility, and avoids or sometimes delays just costly grid upgrades. So I'm going to present, but feel free to stop me whenever there's a question. There are examples of this across the nation. So just last week when I was sending these slides to the team, so there was a news that Austin Energy in Austin, they started similar initiative that they are going to deploy 40 megawatts of residential battery storage across that utility service territory. Of course, they're a little bit bigger than Heber Light and Power, but so those numbers, that's the extent of the number. But that shows that utilities across the country are looking at this exact idea at the moment. So there are examples in Vermont, Excel Energy in Minnesota, and Rocky Mountain Power in Utah, that they basically run this Water Smart program that just basically gives battery to the customers and for a rebate. But then the way it's going to work is that this is going to directly control the resources and the assets that are going to be installed in the customer sites, or they are already installed in the customer site for the benefit of the grid. And then this is going to aggregate that. So like say, like just put some numbers and examples on this, say a small number of 100 customers install, each of them install like 10 kilowatt batteries. That's going to give us 1 megawatt of like battery capacity to charge and discharge for the benefit of the grid whenever the utility decides. And this is very important because this is going to avoid a lot of capacity that is needed to be built just for a few hours of the year or a few days of the year during the peak hours. Using this capacity would enable to avoid those costs, expensive costs of like building or contracting new capacity for the utility. Not just long term, but there are other benefits that I'm going to talk about. Then there's also going to be a direct benefit for the customers that they are going to basically own this asset. They're going to see this as a resilience service that they are seeing. So there is a backup power in their own house that they are going to be able to use to powering their homes whenever there's an outage on the grid and there's no power coming out of the grid. So that is like another benefit. So there are benefits on the utility side, there are benefits on the customer side, and then the ownership model is going to be that like customers are going to own the asset, but the utility through some payment to the customers is going to gain control of these for events that are defined as part of the BPP program. So then, so what are the benefits to the customers? Of course, like the payment that are coming from the utilities, is going to reduce the upfront cost of installing those assets and resources on the customers, and it's of course going to over time is going to reduce the power bills for them because they have like more control on things. It's not just solar, but also is going to bring the resilience and reliability benefit for the customers. And then what the kind of one of the discussions we have had is that how this compare to a utility scale battery, right? Because that's one of the easiest solution. In terms of the cost, the net utility cost is going to be way lower, 40 to 60% for a same size capacity. If that was going to be installed on as a one large battery storage, but then it's not going to deliver as much benefit because it's only going to be in one location on the grid rather than being distributed across the grid and being able to solve challenges that arise in the feeders in different nodes across the grid. And then it's going to, of course, bring the social value and societal value that I mentioned about bringing resilience and kind of the feeling of independence, power independence to the customers during emergency that may or may not happen in the grid. And also one of the main advantages here is that Heber Light and Power is I would say is blessed with having a lot of customers installing solars, rooftop solar, behind the meter solar on their rooftops. But then that's not necessarily being used for the benefit of the grid, and surveys shows that utilities actually are very much willing to participate in improving the utility operation. The customers are willing to participate in utility operation, and that's going to this BPP program would enable them to participate in improving the situation on the grid. And then one of the questions of how are we going to do this? So basically the proposal we've been discussing is to work together in the next few months on a design phase, define objectives based on resources and develop interconnection standards, incentive structures, and partnership with vendors and installers, and develop some platform for communication, monitoring, and control, and reach to a level that we have the design of the program and be able to run a pilot phase. and then after that, we'll monitor the program and be able to scale given the results. So and then one of the big differences here is that the way we are doing it is going to be very novel in the nation. It's going to be basically working directly with the Heber Light and Power to run a one-stop platform, one-shop platform. So some of the challenges that exist in the implementation and deployment of VPPs is that the complexity that is involved in building such a kind of infrastructure. From the perspective of the number and the number of basically the different types of stakeholders and parties that are involved in this. So there are vendors who are providing the technologies, and then there are from software to the hardware to the enrollment to the economics to marketing, and the other side are installers. And sometimes this is not only hard for the utility, but also hard on the customer side. So the customers are not necessarily sometimes going after it because it's just too tedious to just get that a rebate from the utility and install that. They're just so complex. They have to meet certain requirements. But the way we propose to do it is to basically handle all of that in one platform, from enrollment to engagement with the vendors, offering multiple platforms and offering multiple technologies that are going to be already proven to work with the VPP management system that Heber would install. And then so basically there's a proven way of interoperability between these devices and the utility, and also bringing the installers to the table to make sure that everything is smooth. This is going to be the first in the nation to be developing something that's going to be really smooth for the customers to do. And I would call it 21st century VPP, although this is 21st century technology anyway. So yeah, this is basically a very quick summary of this. I'd be happy to answer if there's any question, or Jason, if there's anything you'd like to add to this.
Jason, is there anything you'd like to add?
I know, I'm happy to answer any questions too. I mean, this is just something we've been working on. We've got over 2 megawatts right now of installed solar generation on our system. The customers have, spent the money, put the panels on, and it's not necessarily being dispatched correctly. And this gives us a platform that does that. Now, what we're talking about here is development of this platform. So that means kind of developing what the rebates are going to be for the EV chargers and any batteries on net metering systems. That's the first low-hanging fruit, is develop what those rebates are going to be so that the customer is incented to buy the products that will work with this virtual power plant. And then once those devices get deployed out into the system, they'll, by accepting the rebate, they'll be agreeing that the utility has somewhat control of those devices. So, it'll work hand in hand with our time of use rates. The utility is dispatching these devices correctly. It's going to be a net savings to that net metering customer, because we're going to be dispatching batteries on peak when the time of use rates are the highest. They're going to be getting a battery at a much lower cost because of the rebate program. And same with the EV chargers. It's not conducive for the EV user to be charging on peak. And so it will give us the control to make sure that they're not paying those on-peak prices while they are charging. Not knowing that they're charging while it's, the highest cost of day. It's a way to, start building this system where we know we got, a much higher saturation of EV cars on our system than, say, Ephraim City does. We've got, our clients seem to be more than willing to invest a lot of money in solar on their roofs. And they're slowly buying batteries. The problem is because they're buying batteries, are those batteries actually being a net positive for the grid and what they're paying on their utility bills? Or are they just buying them because, somebody like Elon Musk says, you should buy a battery if you have solar? This just gets the right platform out there, a platform that can be controlled. And that includes our fleet of chargers. Our commercial fleet of chargers that we have. This platform will also give us control of those chargers so that, a real-time operator can look up and say, geez, I'm on peak, the market's super high right now, and I've got 5 megawatts of cars charging out there that I can dial down. They can still get a charge, but you might be able to dial that down to 2 megawatts with this particular system that us and Masood are going to work together to develop. So, like I say, this is starting from scratch and developing a program for a virtual power plant. And, there's going to be a lot of work involved to get us to the pilot program. And then once that pilot program is there, it's tested and vetted, then we can start offering it to the customers and go from there. But, for the development of this program, it's, Heber's going in on this, Heber Light and Power's going in on this for about $50K to develop a program like this. But I think in the end, the value's there just because we've got so much saturation right now with, we're a 55 megawatt utility and we've got almost 3 megawatts of solar, which is low-hanging fruit to ride through grid with today's technology in residential batteries.
Okay. So I have a few questions, please. Yes. Mr. Parvani, can I ask how long Grid Elevator has been in business?
Yes, we've been in business since 2018, but also we've been working on research and development, but our first product has been tested and validated since 2022.
2022. Can I ask about any other projects that you've done like this in the state or in this region?
Yes, so we have multiple lines of product. Our first product that is commercial at the moment is called IntelliCharge, which is a management software for distributed energy resources, including EV chargers and batteries, and that has been deployed across the state with multiple clients, including University of Utah, the zoo, the aquarium in Salt Lake City, the Grand America Hotel. Salt Lake City itself is using our products, and then down in St. George and Zion area, we have multiple clients over there.
Okay, that's good to know. Can I ask, what's the variety of battery sizes you have for a project like ours, or do you have just one standard size?
That's a very good question. So we are so the Grid Elevator is not a developer of the battery technology. We are going to develop the platform that enables controlling those batteries. So actually, we believe in the idea that we need to be hardware agnostic, and our software is hardware agnostic in the sense that giving the option to the customers to choose from a variety of batteries that are compatible with our server, with our platform, so that enables control by the utility and provides the benefit for the utility. So there are going to be multiple options of battery to choose from for the customers in terms of the vendor, in terms of the quality, in terms of the capacity. So it's not going to be one, but what is going to be common among them is that they are all going to be interoperable with each other and with the utility platform, so that Heber is going to be able to control them.
Okay, one more quick question, then I'm going to turn it over to all three of you. And Craig Simons, thank you for joining us online. I just want you to come off mute really quick so we know you can participate and say whatever you'd like.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, Mr. Parvani, when you just mentioned that if this goes through, that our customers would be able to choose from a variety of batteries and sizes and vendors, how is it that your software would handle all of those different vendors when I believe that Tesla has been very protective of its copyright and its access, right, to its chargers and all of that? So how are you building a software platform that could handle all types of vendors? Do you have that agreement already with Tesla as well as the major vendors?
Tesla won't be included.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say Tesla is not going to be part of this just because they don't allow the utility to be able to control that. So that's kind of, I think, was the first thing I started. There are going to be like variations of VPP, right? The ones that are like controlled by controlled and operated by these third parties who are basically just there for the profit, not for the grid. But then the ones that are going to be controlled by the grid and operator, and those are going to be the vendors who are going to give access to the users and to the basic utility to be able to control them. And there are a variety of vendors that we are in conversation with. We are holding off until basically we officially start this contract, so we are able to actually contract with them for this. But then technologically, the way it works is that Tesla can actually allow that. There are standard protocols of communication with the battery devices, basically with the inverters of battery devices. They are a variety from Modbus, DMP3, IEC standards. These are proven standards of communication for protocol for communication that allows different vendors of battery speak the same language with the utility in terms of the communication and the protocol. And we have that technology already built in. And Tesla also has that technology, but the problem is that their business model doesn't allow that to share that control with the utilities.
Right. Okay. Next question. It sounds like, and this is to you, Jason, when you're saying we have to develop rebates for the solar batteries or the EV chargers, it sounds like that means we have to subsidize purchasing the batteries and the EV chargers through our rates, and then offer it at a discount or a rebate to customers, which I don't know if all customers want to subsidize those that are buying the batteries with rebates. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that's that's the argument of whether or not energy efficiency programs are worth the money. I think it's been proven through the utility industry as a whole, the cheapest kilowatt that is out there is the one you don't have to buy, which is what energy efficiency gets funded with. So, if you can make your system as efficient as possible, you're buying less kilowatts, And that dollar figure is usually of what you're spending on rebate programs is less than what you're gonna be paying for a per megawatt hour for what you're saving.
To
I just
purchase
want
it
you on the
somewhere
record.
else.
Yeah.
I understand.
And we'll also be able to save on our overall demand charge that we'll be getting for transmission. That's about $5,000 a megawatt.
Mm.
So, we could save
That can help defray.
$150-ish thousand a year, plus the market, the cost of market power that we would be purchasing from the market. So I don't know if it would be a subsidy or more of a break even, and we probably wouldn't be writing those checks either for the excess net metering banks,
Oh, is that right?
because they would be able to dispatch that and use it instead of
But then
pushing
they
it
wouldn't
back.
be paid for that?
Well, I don't think that they would bank it anymore, because they'd be able to actually use it and save money on peak with their energy. And, because right now, if
The
you don't have a
credit would be-
battery, if you don't use it, it gets pushed out onto the grid. We put it in a bank and we let them use it later, but this way they'll be able to use it when they're really using it.
Well, and by
Everybody
the
knows.
rebate, they can afford to buy the battery that they perhaps can't now. I noticed that.
Okay, here's my.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna size that battery, that goes to your other question there. But those batteries, that's for the customer to size, and I'm guessing that they will size it based on the installation of solar panels they put on the roof. So big house, it might be an 8 kW battery, small house, it might be a 1.5 kW battery. But what it does is it allows for that customer now, like, we will start discharging that battery for them at the right time based on our time of use rates. Because right now, it's just, you're hoping that the installer installs it right,
Mhm,
because they could be charging that battery during our most expensive period,
mhm.
if it's not done right, so.
Charging
And then
it off
Then
the
there's no
grid.
return on investment, yeah.
Rather than off their panels.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. So last question, just to verify, Mr. Parvani, you said you wanted an initial $50,000 contract to begin the study of our system, our capacity, and costs. And would we be able to get from that $50,000, what size battery for different solar customers, who the vendors are, what the total cost could be for the 2 megawatts to 3 megawatts that you talked about, Jason, for
Well, this would,
Heber,
the
Heber Light
50,000
Power.
would be for developing the virtual power plant for our system. That's from, the rebates for the products that
Right.
the customers are gonna be buying to, there could be another rate class that gets developed, through this process for those people that, sign up for us to dispatch like their EV vehicles, various things like that. So all of that needs to be developed, and
Plus their software.
their
That-
software will
is it in the-
all be a part of that.
Is their software in the cloud?
Yeah, your software is cloud-based, correct, Masood?
Yes, it is going to be cloud-based, but it follows the SOC 2 standard that allows to work in the utility environment.
What about the installation costs for, I'm assuming, a SCADA system on every battery, or however that would work?
No, it'd be Masood's software platform that would be developed, would be a part of that as they accept that rebate. So as soon as they accept that rebate, they're buying a charger that will meet the requirements of that platform. And then basically all we're policing is, do we have like a Wi-Fi connection, an internet connection to that device?
That's all it requires.
Yeah.
These batteries would only be if they have a solar installation, or would there be people buying batteries?
We already have customers that have bought batteries.
And they
like
charge them
would a
off their
standby
system.
generator.
Yeah,
But they're charging off the grid, so.
yeah, if they don't have solar to charge it.
So there's a lot of batteries that are even on our system right now that are just kinda in that standby mode.
So
Meaning-
it's, when the power goes off, the battery kicks in rather than the generator kicking in. but we'd
But
be able to,
they don't have any solar panels on their home.
that's what I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
separate from the solar. So that you'd be able to draw down that battery in a power outage.
Well, during a power outage isn't what I'm worried about. That'd be for the customer to choose what they need for that. But if that battery is in this program, then we could discharge it on peak even though their power's still on.
Can I
So
ask-
you'd be
Which
drawing off
lowers
of theirs
our-
rather than buying
which
it from
lower our-
wherever,
yes.
you'd be taking it from them.
Yeah.
Mr. Parvani, I'm sorry, here's one more question. What's the
Interesting.
capacity in your software for the amount of connections, whether it's EV chargers, whether it's the solar batteries? Is there a limit in your software as to how many connections we would have in our system?
That's a very good question. I think that relates to the question of scalability, right? So our software built in the most advanced software technology that allows not only virtually unlimited, but I don't want to call it unlimited number of connections, but also it's going to be seamless. That's very important. So you can I'm telling you that this controlling a battery from remotely is not something that is kind of a, let's call it kind of a rocket science, but what is very specific about what we are doing is that commercially scalable. That's what is important here. And not only that, but it's also going to be very secure. So we have our own patented technology and cybersecurity that is going to make sure that all the connections we are making are going to be cyber secure. But I wanted to also respond to your a previous question when you mentioned about when you asked about that $50,000 does yes, Jason mentioned about all of the things that we will be doing, but also there are benefits to the customer as well. In addition to providing a platform for the utility to be able to control that, we would be also for every customer who are using it, we are also going to be providing a free platform to be able to see what is actually happening with their battery, what's happening with their EV charger, with their solar, because of the control technology that we are providing. So they would be also be able to see and be informed about what's happening with their kind of asset that they own. And then that's something that is not offered to them at the moment, but with this basically this rebate that they would be getting that as well. There is two more questions I wanted to two more things I wanted to bring up if you have time. So very importantly, this couldn't be developed for this amount of money, but we are kind of we've been fortunate to work with Heber Light and Power in the past 1.5 years on let's call it a national competition. They call it prize. That we won the first two phases of a competition that Department of Energy ran to develop initial versions of this software, and they paid for it. So kind of it's subsidized by a national prize that we receive as part of this. And also, and the other thing I wanted to bring up is that this is what we are doing is has a track record of more than 15 years of proven scientific methodology behind it. And while we are going to have maybe a few percentage of the customers enrolled on this, and while they are going to actually get those rebates, they are not going to be the beneficiaries alone. What this is going to help is that this is going to be reducing the operation cost for everybody on the grid. And then we've shown that by only 5%, if 5% of those customers participate in management of the grid and reduce the peak, that's going to reduce operation cost, and in long term avoid rate increases for everybody on the grid. So I would say actually those customers kind of would be also sacrificing to participate on this. Is that rebate is not a rebate to them, it's a kind of a way to engage their participation on the grid.
I understand. It just sounds like from what you said first is that you'll have a tiered pricing within your software, that once we get so many customers, then you would likely charge more for this. It just sounds like that. from what you first said. Instead of having unlimited customers on the software you would develop, it sounds like you would do some tiered pricing for the number we would likely try to sign up.
Actually, that's the other thing I wanted to address as well, and that's something that we've talked with. So, as part of this initial phase of the program, we even haven't even built in any kind of pricing strategy in that. We don't believe that this should be a win for any parties in between. It shouldn't be only a win for us. It shouldn't be only a win for utility. It shouldn't be only a win for the customers. It should be something that is working for everybody, because one of the challenges is that on paper, this works very well. Utilities would definitely benefit from this. Customer would definitely benefit from this. But what is not resolved in this BPP is the business model of how this actually works in terms of payments that parties would distribute. Right? There is no doubt that there's going to be benefit, but we don't believe that. The payment that, for example, is paid for the platform or paid for the customers should be being more than what actually the benefit that the customer that the utility is getting from this. So our idea is that in the next few months we would be designing how that business model would work in terms of how much we would be paying for the customers in terms of rebate.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Get paid.
I'm sorry, that is not what I'm asking. I'm asking what would be our costs in the future to continue to use your software. And I asked if we had unlimited capacity through the initial software, and if you would, and I didn't get a clear answer, if we could just keep adding customers and using the same software that you would develop. And so I'm wondering how much it's going to cost Heber Light and Power in the future when we add 1,000 customers or we add 2,000 customers onto your system. Would you have tiered rates to us as a company for how many customers we add to your software? Or would you give us the same rate?
Yeah, naturally, it's going to be more work for the platform in terms of the platform cost and others. Yes, naturally, it's going to grow, but then on the other side, it would be like also adding to the benefit that is delivered to the utility.
I understand that, and again, if we go with you, then we expect you to be in business for decades and generations to come, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So that's what I'm concerned about, is the ongoing costs to our company to continue to use your software, and if in any future contract we might do with you, if we could do some kind of percentage limit year to year so that we could budget our costs much more easier than getting a ginormous increase from you. Does that make sense? Can you see where I'm coming from?
Totally.
Okay. That's something.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And that's what I believe too. It shouldn't be working only for the platform. This should be working for the utility company, and definitely that percentage maximum and others totally makes sense too.
Okay, I'm really sorry to have taken so much time. I'm going to open this up to the rest of the board for any of their questions. Please feel free.
I would just like to know, is there a similar platform that's been developed around the country, or is this the first of its kind?
Is that a question to me?
Yes, please.
Oh yes. So yeah, there are other platforms that we are aware of, but then what we've observed that each of them come with its own challenges and others, and that's why we actually have been able to be the first get the first place in a DOE competition that all the other software companies have participated, and the reasons that we are actually taking a different approach on this. And one of the most important things is that while this is a software business, we are actually power engineers who happen to also know how to develop software. So we really know how this should work from the a grid perspective rather than just a pure SaaS or a software business perspective. So we are pretty unique on that aspect.
Thank you.
Jason, how many Are there other utilities within the UAMP system that are looking at this? So you, as far as you know, you were the only ones.
Yeah, I don't, no, this is, but like I say, we're kinda unique. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, there's not another UAMP system that has kind of like our saturation of net metering, electric vehicle owners, and also people with, I guess, the checkbook that can begin buying these batteries to put in their homes.
you mean Heber Light and Power is unique to
Yes.
that.
And so, you know, I mean, to me, as we, you know, like Masood said, we've worked with him on some other projects, you know, where on stuff that he's developing. And, you know, this is just from conversations after we started looking at his platform for the electric vehicle commercial chargers we have. I mean, right now, you know, when somebody pulls up to one of our electric vehicle chargers, ChargePoint takes their cut, and it's an expensive cut. And that's how his EV system works. I mean, the person that's charging the vehicle will pay some to grid elevated. We've got to develop this virtual power plant model and, you know, see what it actually pencils out to be, see if it's, you know, at the end of this affordable. All I'm doing is coming to the board with some type of solution to start to maximize these assets that customers have installed on our system and find an avenue to help reduce our overall demand at the right time, especially now that we're in this day-ahead market. And because, you know, I'll tell you, the only thing we can control in this is not the market, not market pricing, is our load. That's what we can control. And if we can control our load at the right hours of the day, consistently, the savings is there for all of our ratepayers, not just the net metering customers, but, you know, if this thing grows and we can shave that peak by 5 megawatts at the right time using the net metering customers' assets, then that helps all customers.
Well, it's not only the net metering though, it's anybody that buys
It's
a battery.
anybody
and
that buys a
and
battery
joins the
or an
program.
electric vehicle.
Yeah,
And that's what, you know, the others aren't doing. And so, you know, there's a high likelihood that we just get the low-hanging fruit here. We could be at like that 5 megawatt type savings level when you include EV charging, customer installed batteries, and maximizing the net metering production. So it's the only reason that I'm bringing this to the board. You know, we're just a unique little company that fits a niche, and, you know, if we can make this happen, then there's gonna be savings for everybody.
Well, and Masood is bringing this to us too because he's been working on a load forecast for us for, you know, a year and a half. And so he really understands our load and UAMPs and the energy a day ahead market and what the potential is there for us with the value. And that's part of the pilot program too, is us understanding what the value is and him understanding his costs and us, you know, all coming to an agreement when that's over, so he'll be able to give us a good idea of what, you know, he'll be able to tell us what the cost is then.
Okay, can I ask if Rocky Mountain Power has ever considered something like this?
So they have their WattSmart program where they rebate for in-home batteries.
Okay,
So,
but is
but
it
are they set up so
dispatchable?
they draw off of those
Yeah.
in-home batteries
yes.
like this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
What
Yeah.
system do they use? It's apparently not, or is it?
They use their own internal design system called WattSmart.
Okay,
everyone.
similar type software apparently.
Everyone, Aaron Cheatwood has joined us online. Aaron, do you wanna
Yes.
come off mute?
Audio only for a minute, can only get onto the tab. Let me see if I can.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm texting right now, so trying to get him on.
Okay, sorry, we have another board member that's just joined us, so we wanna make sure that he's part of the conversation. Craig, or Kendall, anyone else have questions?
He should be able to talk if he could just respond.
So this
Aaron,
was
would you have
50,000 to have him develop. That's kind of the initial to decide
That's
if
the
we want,
initial.
to see if we're gonna buy into it. How does that fit in our budget?
There you
Sorry,
go.
can you hear me now?
Is that you, Aaron?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah, sorry, it kept telling me to push star something to unmute, but Kendall was talking, so I couldn't hear what it was saying. All good.
Oh, good, we're glad you're here, and go ahead, Kendall, with your question, and then Aaron and Mayor Craig, we're happy to have you have yours.
Well, I just wondered how it fits in the budget, the 50,000 initial.
Is it under
It's not.
professional services?
No, it's not budgeted.
No.
But we do have a few things that we're not moving forward on, so I think.
So there'd be money there.
Okay, Mayor Craig or Aaron, any questions for Mr. Parvani? Or Jason?
I don't,
No question.
Okay, well, you can see this is incredible. York Fitzgerald's been talking to me about this for about the last 4 years. I just didn't think there was anybody that could provide the software, and I knew that we didn't have the capability to design it ourselves. So now, Grid Elevated has. What I'm concerned about is that the cost to do this, right? Because it sounds like we would have to purchase the batteries, make them available to the customers.
No,
And,
No,
they would buy a
we give them a
battery.
rebate.
All we would supply is a rebate for a battery, an approved battery that they have purchased.
if they
Okay.
sign into the system.
Okay, so then it's the incentive, the rebate incentive. What I'm concerned about is that 2 to 3 megawatts, or maybe up to 5 megawatts. How do we make sure that the return on investment for investing in this, the software and the increasing cost of the software over time, and who knows what else that'll take on our side, that does not ever get close to financing for actually developing the natural gas generation or ongoing costs there, to build that much more capacity to our system. I would hope we would never get that close. Does that make sense? Because then and otherwise, we would just use another way to build the capacity of our system. So I'm hopeful that we will have that incredible savings, as has been talked about here, where we wouldn't have to do financing and we could do this low-hanging fruit that Jason's talking about. Okay, any further questions before we wrap this up? Okay, Jason or Mr. Parvani, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to appreciate the opportunity to present this and work with Heber Light and Power and reiterate that, yes, so very innovative utility, and honestly, what is being done there in terms of the audit and other technologies, the variety of energy technologies is very unique, and we are so excited to be part of that.
Everyone, this is a discussion item. If you would like to give a thumbs up, perhaps maybe Jason and Mr. Parvani could go forward with looking at the actual contract and bring it back.
I think I'd be interested in looking at it.
Yeah.
It has
Okay.
possibilities.
Aaron, Mayor Craig, any thumbs up or thumbs down on proceeding?
Yeah, go ahead, thumbs up. As long as it doesn't cost a ton of time from Jason at this point.
yeah,
True.
I'm good with it. Do want to talk to Jason a bit though. But I'll reach out to him.
So does this mean Adam will also be involved, looking at the contract?
Adam's already been involved.
We'd hope.
Yes, okay, and I'm willing to go forward with this too. All right, thank you, Mr. Parvani, we hope you have a good day.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Have a good rest of your day.
All right.
Thank you.
Everyone, because,
Thank
thank you. We're going to move on to our next agenda item, and that would be actually going back to the front, the consent agenda, now that we have more board members here. So everyone, the consent agenda consists of the April 29th, 2026 board meeting minutes, the April financial statement, and warrants. Does anybody have questions, comments, or motions on the consent agenda?
I'll make
Motion,
a motion. We approve the consent agenda items are related to April 29th board meeting. 2026 financial statement and the April 26 warrants.
Thank you, Mayor Craig.
Second,
Thank you.
Second it.
All right, let's take the vote, and we'll do the people in the chamber, and then I'll call out your names, please, for online. Kendall, would you start?
yes.
I'll vote yes.
Yes.
All right, Mayor Craig
Yes.
and Aaron.
Yeah.
Thank you. That passes 5-0 with one excused. All right, the next agenda item, and we have Trey Johansson here from Squire and Company. The next agenda item is the review and acceptance of the 2026 annual audit. So, Trey, is he a presenter?
Hi, yeah, you could.
Trey, you're a presenter now. You can share your screen, please, if possible, and we'll turn it over to you.
Perfect, I appreciate the opportunity. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Before I continue, is everybody able to see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you could,
Perfect.
could you enlarge
sorry.
just enlarge the printing, please? If you could make that larger, I'd appreciate it.
Yes. Is that a little better?
A little. Can you make it a little bigger?
I can make it.
Just,
There.
thank you. That's great.
Perfect. Well, I won't take too much of your time. I know there's big things to talk about, but just wanted to do a quick presentation on the financial audit that we get to help out each year. We appreciate the help of Bart and his team, and they're always great to work with. But I just kind of want to go through our audit report real quick, kind of at a high level, and talk about some of the procedures that we perform and what the result of our audit is. If you look at the screen that I'm sharing, you can see the independent auditor's report. This has changed over the last few years. And it used to begin with management's responsibility, then the auditor's responsibility on page, and then on page 2 it showed the opinion on the audit. But I think they realized that most people just care about the opinion, so they moved that to the front. If you were to follow along, you can see in that second paragraph, it says, in our opinion, the basic financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of Heber Light and Power Company. In more, plain language, that's an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion on the audit. So as the auditor, our responsibility is to develop an opinion on the financial statements that are presented and prepared by management, so Bart and his team. And what we provide is what's called a reasonable assurance. That's not absolute because we can't look through every transaction, but it's a high level to say, yeah, you can feel the users of the financial statements can reasonably rely on the information that is presented. I'm going to stay at a high level unless you want me to dive into some of the balances, but I just kind of want to talk about what we do as part of the audit. So we look through, we take lots of samples, and you can ask Bart and his team. We probably asked them for 100 or so invoices to look through and review. And some of the things we do is we do some cash disbursement testing, and so there we just want to review transactions for proper coding, make sure it's being recorded in the proper period, they're being authorized, so we're following the policies and procedures and the controls that we have set, that the board has set, that those are being followed in practice. In addition to some disbursements, we review receipts, do some revenue testing. Specifically, we have looked at federal as well as property taxes, and we've been able to look at that from an independent source, so not necessarily generated in-house, but using an outside source to feel good about those amounts. We also look at payroll, make sure it's being authorized properly, recorded in the proper period, and that we can feel good about how those costs are being allocated. And then something that's big for you guys this year, which I'm sure you've talked about quite a bit, we also looked at capital assets. And in your construction in progress, there's that new administration building that's underway. So we looked at invoices for that. So kind of similar to that cash disbursements testing. The hope is just to always be able to have the support. In the audit world, we like to say if it's not documented, it didn't happen. But everything is always very well documented at Heber Light and Power. Any questions with some of the procedures that we perform as part of the audit?
No, please continue.
Oh, perfect. And then another area that we test, if you want to scroll down, or I'll scroll down because I'm not sharing. We also do some procedures for the state of Utah. It's known as the state compliance testing. And each year there's a few, I apologize, I'm moving kind of quick on that. Each year the state of Utah has different areas that they would like us to test. Some of those are yearly, some of those are every few years. And the ones that we were to test this year revolved around budgetary compliance, fund balance, and then that fraud risk assessment. So there's different steps that the state wants us to review and walk through with each of these audits, and making sure that our budgets are being prepared before the new year, they're being approved, and they have the proper notice that's being put out. So those who would like to attend can be a part of it, as well as fund balance. We do some testing there, and then the fraud risk assessment. You guys are probably very familiar with the fraud risk assessment, seeing as that's a fairly new requirement, but that's usually presented to the board and approved. And so the one difference that we had this year with that testing was that we did a step further of the state wanted us to, anything that we said yes on, to make sure that you guys had that support or documented somewhere, so that way the score that you had come up with could be supported. And we didn't have any issues in state compliance either. Everything's, again, really well documented, and Bart is very thorough, so we always like working with Bart. But any questions on the audit? Again, I was trying to stay high level to keep this as quick as possible. Sometimes the financials aren't always the most exciting thing to go through, but we like it.
Okay, any questions or comments? There is a lot there.
That's me, sorry, I'm testing
No,
something.
just checking,
Yep,
just
sorry.
checking.
If you ever need something to help you to put can't sleep at night, open up the financial audit report, and that will help you with maybe some sleep aid right there. So.
Well, Trey, I guess the only thing I'm gonna say is that I think the actuarial inflation rate is way too low, but that's me.
That's a little outside of our
Yeah,
control.
yeah, I understand, understand.
Perfect. Well, if there's no questions, I'll stop sharing, and we can
We'll proceed.
allow the board to continue on with the agenda.
All right, we really appreciate you waiting. We had to wait till we made sure we had enough board members here to vote. And so the vote
Oh, no
board
worries.
is to accept the 2026 annual audit by Squire and Company. Is there any comments, questions, or motions on that agenda item?
I would make the motion that we accept the 2026 annual audit report as has been presented and it's in the board packet.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, we'll do the voting. Kendall, you first.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Mayor Craig?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Thank you. That's 5-1. I'm sorry, 5-0. Why am I doing that? And 1 excused. Thank you very much again. Have a good day.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone, the next agenda item is the review and approval of the engineering scope and estimate for the gas plant substation rebuild. That's a mouthful, Bart. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we talked about this last month in board meeting, and we felt like they were a little bit rich on their estimate, so we pushed back and they cut about 100,000 out. So
Wow.
it was a good pushback, but they are waiting, and we need to get moving, and so their scope is good. We feel like it's a pretty good scope that they're attempting, and we feel better about that number. The number is now where we were thinking it should be, ballpark, so, just look for approval on that, we'll get it issued to them, and get going.
So with Patricio leaving us, do we have any other independent engineer that can check what Burns and Mac is proposing, or we're just going with it? Did you guys look it all over, so you feel confident about
Yeah,
that?
I've been looking at engineering documents the entire time I've worked in the electric industry, so 20+ years. Jason's been doing it for
Okay,
30. It is nice to have a Patricio on staff, but having recently done the Southfield substation,
oh,
and Jake
okay,
is a regular participant in all these meetings,
that's good.
I feel like staff, even with the Patricio missing, has the level of expertise.
It's good to handle on.
Yeah.
Can I ask what monies you will use for that $665,000? Are you
That's
using
part
bond?
of that bond,
The
the 2026
2026 bond?
Mhm.
Okay.
What's the time frame on that? It's probably in the paper.
So we have the transformer, we have a production slot on the transformer. We haven't yet paid the first payment because we're not yet into their queue as far as actually working on it. That'll be happening later this year. That's a 40% down, and then once they get going on it, they'll move through pretty quickly to build it. And it is scheduled to arrive here, I think July of next year.
Where's it coming from again? Not Columbia.
No, this is stateside.
It's in Mississippi, I think.
Okay.
Mississippi, yeah. So, that transformer is on its way. We need to get some of the other equipment. Breakers are a little bit over a year out now, so we need to get them on order.
Yeah.
And if you just look at the schedule, you'll see that once we have this approval within the next probably month, we'll be getting that list of those long lead items to where we can get them on order.
You'll come back with those costs, right?
Yeah, yep. And then, the biggest issue that we're pushing for right now is to get these guys to engineer it and design it so that we can get the pads built to land that transformer when it comes. But now that gas plant 1 is out of the way, we can actually go ahead and build all that. There's a sequencing nightmare here because we're gonna have to take an outage on plants 2 and 3 in order to move their transport.
Well, can we look at that in the schedule, please, on page 139 of the whole packet, where they've got their quarters and when things will happen, because the quarters were all squooshed on our material, so I couldn't really tell the timing on that, and I think that's what you're trying to tell us
Yeah,
about.
like I say, the
So
bigger
can we
issue
pull
is
that up?
we can't take our plant down. Burns and Mac originally, when they approached us on this, they wanted us to basically have a couple month outage on our plants
Oh,
because they were thinking we would be able to move everything over. And we're saying, no, we're gonna build this substation sitting where that other plant was, so that the only outage we're taking on plant 3 is to move that transformer over. Because this is the gas plant 2's transformer, the one that's on order.
keep going, Jason. Keep
So-
going. It's the
That's
monthly the quarterly timeline kind of thing towards the end. There you
Right
go.
there.
Almost. Go back up, please. Go
No,
back up.
yeah, the other way.
Right above that.
But by doing it the way we're gonna do it, if we can get our construction crews in there, get all the
Oh,
concrete
okay.
poured. and
Man, it
poured.
wants to flip on you. There you go. You see, we couldn't tell the quarters up above or the,
I've got this built in our own project schedule, so I can actually break it out and give you those duration.
well, you can kind of see
You
where I'm
have the
coming
dates
from.
in the start and finish columns there.
Is the May, June 2026 that very first quarter? Is that 2026?
Yes.
Okay, and then it goes to when at the end?
The end is, by the
2028?
time we're done, it'll be 2028. January
2028.
January
Okay.
of '28.
Okay, all right. Okay, so when you look at this year, that would be through Q4, Burns and Mac, Burns and Mac, Burns and Mac. And then we start taking it over next year, and then we build, the middle of next year on into 28, is that what I'm seeing here? Between the two charts?
You say build?
Yeah, it looks like build,
Yeah, we will be,
on the second page next.
we'll actually start building probably this fall if we can get the civil package out. And start getting, but it could be spring. Whereas that transformer's not scheduled to land until the summer
Oh, next year?
of next year.
Okay.
There's a good chance we'll wait until the spring to get in there and get all the concrete down. But if they can get us the civil package, we just soon move on it now, because costs just continue to go up. So if we can get some work done now, we just soon do that. That's kind of what we're really pushing for. The idea is to have that pad so we can land that transformer when it arrives, hook it up, and get it energized. And
Isn't it gonna be, okay,
Not only
Just
the
help
pad, but
me.
the building over it, around it.
cause I
Right.
couldn't understand the maps either. So
You're looking at the charts, the
this is the
blueprint.
substation, this is not a gas plant, that's where I'm getting mixed
this
up.
is a
Gas plant's
substation.
gonna be different, substation's on this side.
Could you go
Wait,
up?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking I'm at the new campus.
It's where the
We're
old
not
one
there
was.
yet.
It's where the old building was.
Yes,
Yeah,
there you
so-
go,
so
okay,
right
yeah,
now-
point this out, please.
So we have these three transformers that are right here, okay? This is our new Delta Star one that we got maybe 8 years ago. That one we're gonna move, but this new one that's coming can go here because the others are just so old that they are a ticking time bomb for us as far as failure and. But in order for us to move them without taking an extended outage on the plant, we have to basically rebuild the substation here,
Okay.
and then we'll come in and we'll rebuild the connection points and stuff over here. So we can put in a shoe fly to take us from here to here, and then we'll rebuild this when it works. So
Okay.
it's tight. It's definitely been a challenge for Burns and Mac to figure this one out. They don't normally get told to stick it in this spot, and we don't care what you do, you're gonna figure it out, kind of thing. So, but this is our new building that we recently built. So all the controls will be in here, and then we have this cable trench that comes over, and that's why we'll talk to everything.
So the 18 million that was for the new gas plant in the bond, does it include
Nothing
this?
here.
Nothing of this.
Mm.
So how much of the bond is going to this?
About 4, maybe 5 million. So
Well, now that you said that, it'll probably be 6, right? Sadly.
we're hoping not.
Yeah, we hope
got
not
we got a
either.
transformer on order soon enough. The engineering that you see is $750,000. We got a couple breakers and switchgear, a few things like that we gotta deal with. So construction, we're estimating probably $1 million in that. So we're hoping.
We're hoping.
We're hoping.
Does anybody else have questions, comments on approval of engineering scope and estimate for the gas plant substation? Okay, any motions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the engineering scope and estimate for the gas plant subdivision with the $100,000 reduction in the price. Good job on that.
Okay, that's for the $665,199.28. People still use pennies around here? Okay, anyway, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, Kendall, you can start the voting.
Yes.
Also vote yes.
Yes.
Mayor Craig?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes, he did say subdivision, not substation. Does that matter?
I'm sure you'll clarify that, Mayor Craig, is that okay?
Substation.
Substation. It sounds like you're doing subdivisions in Midway today.
Does the 665 reflect the $100,000
Yeah.
discount?
Yes.
Last month it was 7.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so we've clarified that, Riley, substation. Okay, Aaron, we did. I think
I'm
he's-
still a yes.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry I missed that. Okay, that's
For your
fine.
information, we have another one of these coming to you, if not next month, the following month for approval. But that's
For
on
the-
Southfield, that second transformer, we talked about that last month as well. They've given us a partial design and a proposal in order to design that second transformer. So,
Oh, so we're gonna be looking at a similar bill.
it's only $450 a year, so.
That's gonna come out of impact fees though, isn't it?
This impact the other.
It is eligible, but it'll probably be the 2026 bond that will cover that one as well.
Well, I'm kinda wondering about impact fees for this one.
Well, it's eligible, well,
Yeah, it's eligible.
this is eligible. We don't have enough impact fees to cover them. I mean, we can use impact
Oh,
fees on the
wait a
building for the
minute.
next 8 years, and so.
Are you going to tell Mr. Beauchamps that we need more impact fees for
Well,
these
he's got them as
projects?
high as we can. It's just a matter of we gotta wait until people build. So,
The impact fee doesn't
Well-
come until they do.
I'll just say that he's told us that we would be doubling our impact fees basically over these many years, that we've kept increasing prices and we have very stable impact fees instead, so I do wonder about that.
yeah, like I say, that second transformer, I don't think it was in his last impact fee study,
But it will be in the next.
but it will be in the next.
Okay.
So,
Okay, all right, well, that passes 5-0 with the one excuse, please. Okay, thank you. We are ready to move on to the wholesale power report, Emily. And I'm very interested to hear about how EDAMS is working,
Yeah.
when you wanna get to that.
I'll go over that. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so wholesale power report. Okay, so natural gas is under budget. So we're looking really good there. We've still been doing work in the plants and prices have been good, so didn't run quite as much as anticipated, but I'm sure we will make up for that this summer. And wholesale power, just power purchases, under budget, well, we're really, pretty close, but, under budget, so on here I have the actual, and it actually came in higher than I had expected, but all that does is just put us more in line with this accrual number, so the accrual is still good, and we're still looking really good, so we're about 23% under budget overall to date, so that is good news. And we've used up about 26% of the overall budget for the year, so looking good so far. And then just moving on to the Energy Day Ahead Market update. So we went live May 1st with UAMPS. So UAMPS is managing the resource adequacy day ahead for the entire membership of UAMPS. They're not looking at individual members. So they're making purchases in aggregate for the group, looking at the total amount of resources available, looking at everybody's schedules, and then balancing that with their load forecast that they're getting from Pacificor, and then making a purchase for that overall short position that they may see for UAMPS if there is one. And so for Heber, our job is to submit our generation schedules 7 days in advance. We can change those schedules. So for today, for tomorrow, I could change it yesterday by 6 a.m. Is
Oh,
what
is
they
that-
prefer. Yeah, so it's kind of, but our schedules aren't locked out, and so I have been making some calls to them and making some changes.
Oh, that's
But,
good, they're not penalizing us.
Not right now.
Okay.
We're behind the meter generation, so kind of standing by that for now.
Mhm.
But we are trying to follow their rules as best we can. And then, the market costs that we're gonna be seeing going forward will include the day-ahead purchases that UAMPS makes, the real-time charges, so we still have the real-time energy market, and so congestion losses, market fees are all a piece of the overall cost. So if UAMPS has costs that they can't distribute to individual members, then those costs will be distributed to all members based on our the load ratio share. So our percentage of the UAMPS load. So we will be seeing that starting next month on our bill. We already saw the transmission charge change for April, which was, I hadn't expected that, but
Is that good news or is not?
it actually wasn't terrible. It was a little less than I think it would have been had we been charged the way they have historically done it, so not a terrible thing.
What about those Rocky Mountain Power transmission charges that were wanting to be increased last year? Have they done that?
So I think they made changes to that, but now that's all out the window because of this. Is that correct,
Oh.
Jason? This is all, they're actually charging transmission the way that they are charged transmission instead of kind of trying to socialize it across the megawatt hours.
Okay.
So it's a true demand charge now, so we had a load of 22 megawatts at the time of the coincident peak. And so that's what our charge was based on in April, and that's what it'll be going forward.
They charge us for the highest amount then, a true demand charge.
It's a true demand charge.
But
So-
we don't always hit that either.
So it's whatever Pacificor's peak was, whatever our load is. And so, you know, our job going forward is to try to forecast when that Pacificor peak is gonna be and try to use our generation and our batteries and all of our tools to reduce our load as much as possible so that we're paying as little as possible. So in the past, we had no control over it. So I look at this as a really good thing for us because now we have some control over that demand. So that's a good thing for us for sure.
Okay.
So when we get those EDAM settlements next month, it'll be interesting. There's going to be a lot of, well, I should say there's not going to be a lot of changes on the bill. They're not going to give us a lot of detail, unfortunately. So we're still kind of fighting for that and hoping that they're going to give us a lot of data to go with the bill. So
Yes.
I may not be able to really explain it for a few months. And I think they've said that they're not going to be able to give us like that detailed data until like mid-July. So we may have to kind of hold our breath a little bit until we can kind of really understand what you know they're billing us for. But overall, you know, we've had 2 calls a day with UAMPS, and the prices that they're showing are really good pricing. You know, there's the exception of a few hours here and there where it shoots up, and you see like a big congestion charge at a node, and so.
They charge us for congestion too?
Yeah, so there's congestion, there's the losses, and then just the energy charge, so it's kind of interesting. So like here in this picture I have on here, let's see, where did it go, sorry. So on here you can see, I put in that map, so this is kind of the map that we look at that has the pricing. So at the same time, I pulled up the midway node, and it was $16.53 for energy, and then congestion was negative $3, and then the losses were 42 cents. So the overall cost of the midway node was $13.94. And so I pulled up another node at the same time. The energy charge was $15.13. Congestion was $997.52. So that wasn't our node, thank goodness, but that just kind of shows you. You know, they're trying to balance the grid, and so if there's, you know, not enough generation somewhere or too much, they're gonna throw in these charges to try to get everybody to, you know, do what they said they were gonna do.
Give incentives.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's been interesting for sure watching all of that go on.
Okay, before you move on, a couple of questions. All of the things that you and Jason worked for transparency and for auditability at Eden's, look like they are very needed, but are you going to be able to even get that amount of information in July that you asked for? And
Probably
that
not.
supposedly was signed off on?
Probably not. You know, I'm on the advisory committee, so that's been good. I think we were asking for too much too fast, and so they changed our committee meetings to once a month instead of every other week.
Yeah, one of those
So
things.
they were kind of like, we can't give you what you're asking.
As long as it's coming.
I respect that they need time, and Pacificor was not I don't think as ready as, you know, they should have been either, and so they're dependent on Pacificor. And so I wanna give them time, but I'm not done asking for, and
Right.
you know, we will, I think, eventually get what we want, but I think we just need to like give them some time for sure, so.
Okay.
They're struggling,
Oh, I'm not surprised.
yeah.
I mean, you know, new staff, whole new system. Jason, can I ask one more question about the grid elevated? Would that, whole battery software system be behind the meter for us?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other EDAM questions? Okay, so just looking ahead, there is a chance of El Nino this summer. Last time we had a super El Nino was in 2015, and we saw a 19% increase in our load in the summertime. So that's scary. I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's not, you know, we all know, it's not looking good for.
Well, at least we have the line now. We just don't have it energized. Shoot.
I think we're in good shape. I think we're gonna do all right. This is kind of our load, our resource plan for the summer, going forward. So
that changed a little bit, it looks like.
we have, you know, we have some excess in the morning, you know, looking at just kind of an average day. Now on a peak day, that'll get eaten up with load. That's not a bad place to be though, because when UAMP shows us their resource adequacy kind of requirements for the next day, the hours where they have to add like a certain percentage of extra resource on top of what they need. And the hour that they need the most is like hour ending in 7, 8, and 9. And sometimes they need like 17% more resource than they have. And so for us being a little long in those hours is a good thing for us.
Right. But we're buying at peak on the others.
Well, the blue is generation, so we will be able to fill with generation on peak. And if we get our, you know, if the battery's operating, we should be able to also reduce load with the battery. I think we have resource to meet load this summer. I do. We have quite a bit. We stacked in quite a bit of market before we got into EDM. So you can see that bottom block there is the most market we've ever had for the summer. It's about 20 megawatts. And I think we're in pretty good shape, and we got it for a good price. So I think we're in good shape. We paid less for it than we have in past summers.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful.
yeah,
That's unheard of.
Yeah, it turned out to be pretty good. So I think we're doing all right. We'll see. Yeah. And then just a quick CRETA update. You know, I'm sure you've all heard about the DROA and the 6E actions to keep Lake Powell above dead pool. So there's water. That's great news. So it's about 1.9 million acre feet that we'll have flowing this summer. They're going to bypass about 900,000 acre feet of that around the generator to keep smallmouth bass from spawning. So still fighting that fight a little bit. Still waiting for the official word from the secretary on that. We'll see. So we were in the news. The Associated Press just did an article a couple days ago, and so they interviewed one of our customers. Yeah, to just talk about rate increases, and they kind of tied it all back, but they tied it all back to kind of federal hydropower and drought. It's a pretty interesting article. I can send it to you guys. So I thought they did a good job.
I didn't catch it yet, so that sounds great.
They did a good job of tying it all together. So anyway, and there's some other
We
news.
need to put that on our website.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt us.
No, it wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
She did a good job.
That website, put it on the website. I'm just saying, we need all the help we can get, because sadly, you know, it's not looking pretty in the future for rates.
No, it's not. So anyway, we'll keep you posted on that. And CRETA did select a new executive director that will replace Leslie James, who's been with CRETA for 25, 26 years. So he won't fill her shoes, but maybe he'll be able to pivot us in a direction that he's a lobbyist right now for Colorado Springs.
Get her on speed out. Wow, he really was a lobbyist that now became the director.
Yeah. No, it's good. We need somebody with that kind of those DC connections. to take all of these issues and hopefully get some attention.
Who was he a lobbyist for?
Colorado Springs utilities, electric utilities,
Okay,
yeah, so utility
Okay.
experience, yeah,
okay, he's been in the area,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, so I think he'll be good. So I was on the hiring committee for that and
Oh,
I felt good about it, I think he's good.
wow, you are so well used regionally too. Way to go, and nationally. That's amazing, Emily.
It was an interesting process, for sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, way to go.
Interesting, thanks, yeah, so, unless you guys have any questions, that's all I have.
Okay, any other questions? All right, we're gonna move on, if it's all right, with the general manager's report, Jason.
Yeah. So quickly, we'll go through UAMPS. There's quite a bit of activity besides EDAM going on in UAMPS. The Miller County project continues to move forward. They did get their study back, one of the studies back for the interconnection for that project from Pacificor. Wasn't too favorable. A lot of network upgrades on Pacificor's network needs to be done prior to them being able to interconnect. You know, everybody feels like that can be mitigated several years. And, you know, that work will be ongoing. Large lead time materials are on schedule to be production slots set by, you know, signing contracts, doing that type of stuff for the equipment, which is, you know, Wärtsilä reciprocating engines. So that's moving along. We're close to finalizing the land sales and those types of things on that. It's still staying in that Holden, Utah area, so, you know, it's in Miller County, but the closest town there to the location is Holden. They had a kind of a community meeting down there, took some input from some of the Holden residents on, you know, building a power plant there. Kind of the consensus out of that meeting was, you know, they're not necessarily opposed to having a power plant as their neighbor, but they're very concerned about all the data center talk and those power plants that are being discussed with the data centers,
Well,
which is understandable for a small farming community. But,
are they talking about a data center down there by that geothermal?
just outside of Millard, between Holden and Delta area is a huge data center, the Jewel data center that's
Okay.
being worked on down there.
Someone is thinking about a data center anywhere they see unused gas pipeline capacity, I guarantee it.
So, but this power plant isn't going to serve any, you know, that's the storyline, and that, I mean, it is the story. It's not going to serve data center loads, it's going to serve communities like ours.
Right,
So,
right.
it's a good story down there, and they're working through some of the community issues that came up in that community meeting. On our Steel Solar, so we're a participant in a power purchase agreement with Steel Solar 1A. And that solar project, as you recall, is up by the Idaho-Utah border. And right now, we're in the process of studying whether or not we should, you know, install batteries at that location, so that we can get what's being studied right now is whether to go with 4-hour ride-through or 8-hour ride-through battery technology at that location, up to the maximum of Steel Solar 1A, with the knowledge that Steel Solar 1B will also be participating in it. So all participants of 1A and 1B will be participants in the battery project. And they're talking about 40 megawatts or so, which I think one of those projects, Steel A, is 40 megawatts. The Steel 1B is 38 megawatts, I think, are the numbers. We're not a participant in the Steel Solar 1B power purchase agreement, though. But basically, all participants in those power purchase agreements will have to, you know, go along with the storage project, so we'll all share in those storage costs.
Are these kind of batteries like we have out at Lake Creek?
I'm not sure exactly. I mean, right now, technology's being studied. And that's what I mean between the 4-hour ride through and the 8-hour ride through. That's two separate technologies. And, you know, they're looking to see what would be the best solution for storage at that particular site.
Okay. But that's not part of our PPA though, those batteries.
It would be wrapped into the PPA if the batteries get installed.
But that's
And
forthcoming.
That's forthcoming.
Okay.
As far as pricing and everything, because that'll change depending on whether you want the 4-hour storage or the 8.
Okay.
And then we're meeting with UAMPS tomorrow on the IPP callback. Now that we're in EDAM and UAMPS is just so short of any dispatchable product to be bid into the market, it's really looking like one of the best solutions for that is for all the Utah participants to call back all of their IPP.
Yeah.
So that plan is now fully dispatchable into the market.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna meet with them a little bit. We're set up a little different than a lot of the other utilities. So I wanna see how the capacity improvement for the UAMPS group is gonna get paid back to us. So, yeah, it should be a fun meeting tomorrow.
Oh, good luck with that.
You know, EDAM, you know, Emily's report is spot on. I mean, UAMPS is struggling in a lot of areas, but they're struggling in areas where Pacificor is obviously struggling as well. You know, going into this California market basically is where we're at. And, you know, the only thing that we can control in this market is not pricing or congestion or anything else, but we can control our load. I mean, we probably have, you know, more tools than anybody else in the UAMPS group for being able to control our load. So, you know, that's what we've got to crack. You know, we've got to crack that and, you know, get the system running as efficient as possible, so that our load is what we can control and control our load at right times of the day and that type of stuff, which, you know, Emily and her group have a really good handle on. I think that we'll get there and really be able to take advantage of this rather than just sit back and take it. So, but that's going to take a few months, and they could be painful months.
What I wonder is if we're ever going to get the data
Yeah,
for
I
May, June,
mean,
and July.
I think that's
Yeah.
got to happen. You know, I I guess where I do have confidence is in the CAISO. I think the CAISO is gonna have the data, it's just whether or not it gets parsed and separated correctly between the balancing authority and UAMPS. I think that's gotta, get better than it is currently, and, continue to improve as, more data comes in, and, yeah, it's gonna take some diligence and a lot of time just to make sure that happens. IPA update, the units are, Unit 3 has gone through its outage, and now Unit 4 is down. It should be back up by the end of the month. These are the standard outages after going commercial and getting those initial few 100 hours on the machines to take these outages and make sure that there's nothing going wrong within the machines. These are mostly inspection outages, although a few updates are going on down there. I had IPA board meeting at the plant. We wasn't able to tour it because an outage was going on. But it looks like it's running pretty good, and the reports coming out of it are that those are going to be good machines, and they're going to last us a long time, and they're still working out bugs, which is normal on any startup, in my opinion. It's just it takes a little bit of time to make sure that those units are good to go, and then they'll just go into their normal annual maintenance cycles, and the rest of the time have really good availability. Any questions on any of that? Building report. Right now, the schedule is to probably be completely moved in with all departments except the system operations by the 14th of June. And we'll also begin doing the soft start with system operations that same week. The week of the 8th through the 12th is when we're getting the final audio video commissioned, and that training done through that week. So that's kind of where we're at on that.
So that'll work for our board meeting next month.
Right, like I say, this is getting closer and closer to becoming a reality.
Yeah. Well, I have to thank you, Jason. I have to thank your staff. It was a whole nother full-time job pretty much to build this building, plus keep this going. I'm really glad that that extra full-time job is about done, even though we're moving into other projects too, but way to go. Way to go to get this far and to be able to get everybody moved in.
Yeah.
That's really going to be a relief.
Well, thank you. Thanks to all staff. They're the ones that did it. I didn't have much to do with it other than just oversight and helping where I could. So we had, we got good people here. So thank you, Mary.
Okay.
The open house is planned for June 3rd, and the VIP invitations went out. The VIP invitations start at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And then all of the public announcements have been from 5 to 7 p.m. On the 3rd. And with that, happy to take any questions. I am gonna need a closed session, so if
Okay.
anybody wants to leave and not go through the board training, we should probably do that now and,
Yeah. Is it on personnel, Jason?
yes, it is.
Okay. I was hoping that, I've got another appointment later tonight, so I would not stay for the training, I'm sorry. So could we go to the closed session?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion to go into closed session for personnel?
I'll
Thank
second.
you, thank you. All right, Kendall, your vote?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Craig?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's 5-0 again with the one excuse. We're going to go into closed session. Who do you want to stay? Everybody?
Carly?
Just Carly?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for waiting, Emily, on the Are we ready to come out of closed session?
Motion to come out of closed session.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Craig? Aaron?
Aaron said aye.
Okay, that's,
Yes,
all right, 5-0, we're out of closed session, so now we're going to invite people back in and let you guys get your
I hate
training.
to
and-
dodge on the training, but I
Yeah,
got,
I'm sorry, Morgan. We hope that you will really enjoy it, because it's really good.
I've looked at the packet.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mayor, I'm gonna drop off the call and get on a flight, so I'm gonna skip the training. Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right,
good
see you,
luck.
Aaron.
Be safe. We will see you
Thanks, have a
guys.
good one.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week at the open house.
Emily's doing training, right?
I won't be there, Mayor.
Oh, you
I'm
won't?
gonna be out of town.
Okay.
So I'm glad I did the tour earlier. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful facility.
Yeah, that's really gonna be
But
something.
yeah, we're on a flight that morning,
Okay.
the 3rd.
Okay.
Go see our family in Florida.
That's right, that's right. Well, hope you really enjoy that.
Thank you.
Hopefully it doesn't rain every day.
Exactly. Which it has been.
Well, we can send it our way. Yes. No, we did not. Kendall.
Quickly adjourn.
Kendall, we're gonna adjourn the other meeting. Are you gonna vote yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Riley, I gotta give this to her. I'll make the motion to adjourn,
Okay?
and will you second
You're
it?
seconded.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and I'm gonna vote yes, and you're gonna vote yes, and Kendall voted yes. Who's making a record of this? I've got it, thank you. Okay, and then Mayor Craig and Aaron, can you vote yes to adjourn?
Yes, they did.
They might have hopped off.
It popped off, I don't see anything.
Okay, well, I would assume they would say yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.